everyone. Welcome to another episode of Everything Spice. My name is Tanya. Well, today is Sunday, my Sabbath. But on my Sabbath, I'm still rocking it out in the kitchen. And today, I am making shepherd's pie. My way. It's meat, it's potatoes. And this is where it starts. We have some potatoes. What I'm doing is peeling them with my handy dandy peeler. And then I'm going to boil them in some water. And then I'm going to show you what I use for my meat and what I put in my meat to make it that much better than the last time I made it. Because you always got to elevate the game, friends. So join me for shepherd's pie today. Oh, I just wanted to show you the potatoes before I do the meat mixture. I know sometimes I get ahead of myself when I say we're going to go straight to the meat mixture and then I come back and do something else. You never quite know what you're going to get with me. Sometimes I decide on one thing and I change my mind. I'm a female. I have the right to do that. Just want to show you how I cut them, the potatoes, in like fours. Throw them in the pot. Now, you got to gauge it as far as how many you need. Is a 13 by 9 inch pan that's right in front of you that I'm going to be using. 13 by 9 inch pan. I'm going to spray it with my handy dandy cooking spray. But I feel like it's mashed potatoes, right? So it really has to, and when it's bigger potatoes, obviously you're gonna cut like this. So basically it has to have enough potato to fill the whole pan, right? So you might have to use more. Better to have more potatoes than less potatoes and just have a lesser product. That's how I am with everything. That's pretty much why I cook like for 14 people, even if there's like 3 people or 5 people eating. Better to have more than less. And God forbid I do have 14 people. Then it's almost like a buffet at a restaurant. It's ridiculous. It's just how I am. I would rather cook a lot of food and have people satisfied than have people go home hungry. That's just not going to happen on my watch, friends. So let me keep chopping and dropping. Then, yes, we will come to the portion of it where I'm showing you how to create the hamburger mixture for this. All right, it's hamburger time. I'm starting off with 2 onions and 3 cloves of garlic. And I have about, I mean, you could probably get away with less, but I have about 3 pounds of, it looks like 3 pounds here. What is it saying? Yeah, like 3.5 pounds. Doesn't look like 3.5 pounds, does it? This is the package that I'm using. 3.5 pounds of hamburger. And I'm gonna cut up my onion, my 2 onions, 3 cloves of garlic, chop and drop, and then add my hamburger mixture to it, and then add all the spices. Oh, sorry, my dog decided to bark. I didn't want to, all right, allow that to happen and interrupt. See, the kids are away, but the dog wants to bark. She's like a little baby herself. She's only a couple years old. So to me, she's still a puppy. She's a labradoodle. You see her sometimes in the episodes. If you've ever seen my episodes, she likes to lay around while I'm cooking. She loves the smells when mommy's cooking in the kitchen. All right, with garlic, I want to dice it finer than the onion because nobody wants big pieces of garlic in their food. So as much as I dice it initially, I'm going to continue to like keep dicing it down until it's very fine. And I don't add it right away because what'll happen is it'll burn. And you never want to burn your garlic. That's just, I don't know what you call it, sacrilegious? On this Sunday, we're going to talk about sacraments, yes. It's sacrilegious, hello, to burn your garlic. It bitters it, actually. If you burn your garlic, you're going to have a bitter product. So don't do it, peoples. Don't do it. I'm going to keep chopping my onion. And then what I'm going to do, once I fry this onion a little bit, saute it, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to add some salt, pepper, and then I'm going to add my hamburger. Now, the spices of choice, salt and pepper, I just mentioned. And what else? Some parsley, love that. I got some beef broth I'm going to add as well. And I also have this I'm going to add too, which is a bouillon, but it's granulated. It's granulated, so probably can't see it with the lighting in here, but it's granulated. And then I have beef broth. Any beef broth will do, but this is gonna have a nice gravy texture to it. And guess what I just found? I found this fantastic thing in the store. Never seen it before. Think it's fabulous. Sharing it with my friends on my channel. It's called black garlic. Can you imagine that? It's garlic, it's pepper, and it's just amazing. It looks perfect. Look at this. And it has pink salt in it. Hello, everything you need in one thing. So let me saute these onions and the potatoes. Come see. I have them in the pot with just enough water to cover, and that's gonna boil down. Okay, this is where the meat portion is right now. So where I'm at is I have cooked fully the hamburger and drained the fat. That's the difference between my mother's version and mine. I don't like a lot of fat in my hamburger. It's 80-20, that's the perfect, I think, ratio of hamburger for anything like burgers and this. Cheaper too. So all you gotta do is drain the fat, hello, and you get like basically, without paying that full price for the leaner hamburger, you can still get the same result if you drain it. Now I'm gonna use like 1 tablespoon of the beef bouillon, and I'm gauging it like this, just looking around here. Maybe I might do a little slightly more than a tablespoon or less, depending on your tastes for salt. Like I told you, everything I do here is a method. You can run with it or you can lessen it depending on your preference. Mix all that in, and then the last thing I do here, now you can hear them, they're back, so it's gonna be a little louder. Right here is beef broth. You can use a sodium-free one, you can use vegetable broth if you don't like beef broth. But I'm gonna put a little bit of zhuzhing around, a couple of turns in the pan. Not too much, because you don't wanna soak the meat. You wanna be able to have the flavor of the beef broth without it being like soggy. That just tastes nasty. That just doesn't look good either aesthetically. All right. Sometimes it's all about the aesthetics, my friends. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do, if I can get this cap off, and now that I have nails, baby, I can do it, is parsley. You know, I mean, a palmful, whatever you like as far as parsley. I like dried parsley. I think it stretches better. I've also used the pink salt with the garlic, the black garlic, which is basically pepper and garlic mixed in with pink salt. I'm gonna mix all that in together, and then I'm gonna let this cook down a bit so that the hamburger absorbs some of this liquid. You want it to have some liquid ratio to it, but you don't want it to be sopping wet with beef broth. It will never cook off, and you will have a really soggy shepherd pie. And that is not pleasing to the eye or the palate. So I'm gonna let that cook down a little bit. As long as the pan is not covered, it will reduce. And that is important to know. If you cover it, what'll happen is it'll increase the liquid because the pan, see, the pan has condensation, and that'll all drip in. So then you'll have more water than you really want or need. So let me just continue to cook this down a bit, reduce it so that it absorbs, the hamburger absorbs, the onions absorb all of this liquid. Not all of it, but slightly more than is in the pan now. Okay, so here we go right here. If you look at the hamburger mixture, hopefully the lighting isn't too bad, but it looks like it might be. It reduced it by more than half. Now it's just a hamburger with a little bit of liquid. Now if you don't do it like this on the stove and reduce the liquid here, what'll happen is once it goes into the oven, guess what happens? It's going to re-liquefy it, and then it'll be really, love you too, buddy. It'll be really like liquidy, too liquidy and soupy almost in the pan. Now what I have here, let me bring you over here because this is too much. See, this is the potato mixture. Now what I have in the potato mixture is a little bit of chicken stock that I just went a couple of rounds with, right? And then I have a little bit of chicken stock, I have cream, I have milk, and I had margarine. The measurements are according to how many potatoes that you have. And then what I did is I put that on the stove, okay? And I got that nice and happy over there. Let me fix the camera. Got that to melt the margarine, and then once the margarine was melted, I added the hot potatoes to it that I drained, and then I just whip it up. Keep whipping it up, mashing and smashing until all of the potatoes are like a really creamy consistency, because there is nothing worse than having potatoes that are lumpy. Ugh, I just can't stand it. I have salt in here, I have pepper in here, and I have garlic powder in here. And that is it, my friends. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna layer this. And how we're gonna do it is just drop them. Here we go. Don't mind the pan for a second here. All right, we're gonna dump all of this into a 13 by 9-inch pan, just like that. And now at this point, what you could do is add cream corn, regular corn, peas, any type of vegetable. But I'm not doing that, my friends. I am going a different route with this. I just so happen to have, let me try to get you away a little bit so it doesn't burn my phone up, because sometimes that does happen. All right, guess what I have here? Voila. I had leftover French fries, and there ain't no waste around here. You don't have to waste your food, you can just repurpose it. So I cut it up, diced it up, and it's also gonna absorb some of that liquid too. Brilliant, genius, a double potato shepherd pie. What? Yeah, baby, yeah. And I'm gonna mix all this in. Now you don't have to do that. And I also set the oven up. You hear that clicking is the oven set up for 350 degrees. Probably the go-to temperature for mostly everything you're gonna cook, except for sometimes bread, you gotta go higher. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add some cheddar to it. And I'm grating it myself, but you can buy it in the store. I'm not gonna use a lot of cheddar to this. This is a New York style cheddar, so it has more of a richer flavor. Shop, let's put it that way. So if you're not into shop cheddars, or you don't like cheese, or you have a dairy issue, don't use it. Just wanted a little bit something different. Now this is not something that I usually add to my shepherd pie, but I'm using it today because I'm not using any type of cream corn and I want some creamy richness to it. So I'm gonna add this as that creamy richness element. And now we're gonna add our potatoes, baby. We don't want any of this potato, I know, this sounds terrible, doesn't it? We don't want any of this potato to escape. Look how creamy, look how rich, look how yum. And I'm gonna have a big thick layer of this all over. This is gonna be a shepherd pie for the ages, my friends. Look at how fluffy and fabulous these potatoes are. Tell me they're not going to be delicious in this shepherd pie. Now, as far as how much of this you want to use, well, it's totally up to you. But I do not like to waste, and if I went through all of this aggravation to whip up these potatoes, I sure am not going to let any of it escape. So let me finish this up, and then I'm going to just smooth it out. Just like that, we're gonna smooth it out, okay? I'm gonna add a little bit more potato because I have a little bit extra. 350 degrees, we're gonna cover it up with aluminum foil, maybe some pepper on top, and maybe some butter. I don't know, I'll think about the butter, but I'm definitely gonna do pepper. Cover it up with aluminum foil, 350 degrees, probably for, I don't know, what do you think? An hour? Okay, everyone, it is shepherd pie time. Here is the big reveal. Come to the pan. It's golden brown. It's delicious. It is perfection, my friends. And I'm just going to let it sit for a minute. And then I'm going to serve it. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it, please like, subscribe, and join me next time for Everything Spice. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Be safe.